Mike who? With news emerging that the FBI will not begin proceedings against killer cop Darren Wilson in the murder of Mike Brown of Ferguson, Missouri, we wonder, how many people are surprised? Were his civil rights violated? Apparently not, except for his right to life, of course. But for far too many black youth, this doesn't matter. Civil rights prosecution? Nope, not today, not ever. The only thing that would have surprised us would be if there was a prosecution, but we needn't have worried about that. Recently, Sabrina Fulton, the grieving mother of Trayvon Martin, wrote a letter to Leslie, the grieving mother of Mike Brown. She wrote, "Further complicating this tragedy is the fact that the killer of your son is alive, known, and currently free. Your circle will necessarily close tighter because the trust you once, if ever, had in the system and its agents is forever changed. But with these changes come new challenges and opportunities. You will experience a swell of support from all corners of the world. If they refuse to hear us, we will make them feel us. We will no longer be ignored," she wrote. Mother to mother, son to son, injustice to injustice. The need is clear for more protest, not less. From Imprisoned Nation, this is Mumia Abu Jamal. These commentaries are recorded by Noel Hanrahan of Prison Radio.
Oh, yeah, black sun in the hizzle, oh, but shizzle dizzle. We got an excellent show here today, but first I want to say the views and opinions and that of The Arena does not reflect that of Comcast, its staff, or affiliates. And the views of Black Sun does not reflect that of The Arena. And the views of White Sun doesn't reflect that of Black Sun. We're a council here. So today I want to introduce, to my right, let's introduce yourself.
Lee Reed, Executive Director of the Atlanta Citizen Review Board.
All right.
Y'all know me, Vincent Cheeks, humanist, activist, entertainer.
That's your man Yanga, man. Glad to be back. Looking forward to the show. Glad to have brother Reed on and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Talk about really get to talk about the Citizen Review Board and the things that it's doing, okay, how it impacts us.
All right, can we come a little bit far back on Yanga's camp? See, this is why I like to do a little check there
before the time. But before while they working on Yang's camp, we got any announcements?
Yes, there's announcements.
Yeah. Quick announcement real quick. Remember, phone lines, right? Phone lines are up. 770-559-2999. Once again, the phone number is 770-559-2999. Follow us on Twitter, The Arena Uncensored, and on YouTube at The Arena Uncensored. And with that, we're going to welcome Mr. Lee Reed to the show. He did his undergrad here in Atlanta at Morehouse. He got his law degree from North Carolina Central. And we're going to get into an in-depth discussion about this Atlanta Citizen Review Board and their success rate and how they're helping the community and the people. I went on the website, I checked it out, and it says that y'all were designed to provide citizen oversight of misconduct, accusations against sworn members of the police and corrections departments in the city of Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about that. Let people know what you do.
Yeah, that's my question. Exactly what Vince said. What is a citizen review board, and what do you guys do?
Okay. Thank you. First, let me say I'm glad to be out on here.
Thank you for
Anytime I get the opportunity to be able to tell people about what we do,
right,
I look forward to it. But to your question, this Citizen Review Board is what falls under like civilian oversight, which a lot of cities across the country have.
Okay.
Essentially, it's a forum where a citizen can have a complaint against a police officer or a corrections officer in this case, and file it with this entity that's external to the police department.
Okay.
So in our case here, speaking directly to Atlanta, when they created it in 2007 as an independent body, it has a civilian investigators and a civilian board that actually makes the decisions on the complaints, right?
Okay.
The citizen will have an interaction with the police officer, and then they could contact our office, and the city staff, which includes me,
Okay.
will conduct the investigation, pulling in any officers, any reports, the witnesses, the citizen, pulling all that information in, creating a report for it, make a recommendation to the citizen board, which is in this case has 11 residents of Atlanta,
Okay.
who are appointed by different entities in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then they they make a decision. Once we complete our investigation, it goes to the citizen board.
Okay.
They make a decision on the complaint, and then it goes to the police chief. The police chief makes the disciplinary decision if there's going to be discipline or not. Now, just real quick, the civilian oversight that we have in Atlanta, like I said, is the independent model. They have some models that's like an audit model where the police department would do the investigation.
Okay.
The internal affairs would do the investigation. Then the board would look at some of those cases and then decide if they want to do something about it or not. And then it goes back to the police department.
So when you say Citizens Review Board, you guys have investigators and you have attorneys, right?
Yes.
Who pays for who foots the bills for that? Is this state sponsored, or is this citizen? Is this from donations, or how's this actually funded?
Yes, it's funded through the general fund of the city of Atlanta.
Okay.
So we do receive our funds from the city of Atlanta.
Okay.
And so each year we have to go through the budget cycle about our needs and what we're trying to do.
Does this create a conflict? Do you think this, especially with the citizens,
That's
the
what
11,
right.
right?
That's what I wanna-
Is this okay? Because I mean, it's like, okay, and this is the arena, so we get straight to it and we get some blunt questions.
Let's do it.
Okay.
right.
Does this create a conflict, and do they feel like, okay, and especially the citizens, like, okay, the man who gives the goal makes the rules. So is there some
Right.
type of hesitancy there sometimes, or like, dang, we want to get our funding, or?
This is the beauty of it. Okay, earlier I said that we have a citizen board. So the way it's set up, there's a check and balance.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a city employee,
Okay.
and my staff, they're city employees. So I can understand how someone could question, well, would people be compromised? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's about trying to keep the agency going, and
Right.
you don't want to make any waves and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But one of the checks is, outside of my own personal integrity, one of the checks
Right.
is having,
I like that. I like that.
is having the citizens who are appointed by different entities
Okay.
actually sitting on this board, who reviews all the complaints, who reviews the intakes that come in, the investigations that we do. They actually make the decision on it.
Okay.
So when you have that type of setup, let's say if I lost my mind and I started doing something crazy, when the complaints would go to the board, they would see that, And then the other advantage that we have here in Atlanta is that during our open meetings, any citizen can come in and hear about the cases, what's happening with the cases and
Right.
everything, to be able to make that assessment, are these cats for real or not?
Right.
So that's one way we keep ourselves honest in doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, it's all about what are the facts and trying to make sure you have, not even trying, but making sure you have a fair process that citizens can depend on.
Right.
The challenges, though, with that is in some cases, you have to have witnesses.
Yeah.
If you don't have the witnesses,
Wait a minute.
it makes it rough.
I got to come in here.
Yeah,
jump in
Because
there,
I know
Black.
you've been a witness to Eric Garner. Now, I know this is a whole nother city. I know we're in Atlanta. But this
Right.
is something that not only the nation watch, our sons watch,
Right.
Clearly this man, and we've talked about it on the show,
Yeah.
he was choked out. Said he couldn't breathe.
Right.
I saw it.
11 times.
Right, 11 times.
Yeah.
Now, let's just give a scenario like that here in Atlanta. I mean, and then they had I guess a grand jury, and they came back and said they found him not guilty. So my thing is, how do we because you mentioned checks and balances.
Right.
Like, how do we, let's just say across the board, the Citizens Review Board say, yeah, obviously that was an illegal chokehold. So how do we, I mean, put that against the grand juries, put that against the police chiefs,
Right.
put that against, you know, how do we put that against number one and number two? How do we give it some teeth?
Yeah. Okay. You know, I was mentioning, well, earlier I was talking about, before the show started, I was talking about how what we really need is people, this is one thing.
Okay.
People understanding the power of who you elect in office.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of this boils down to who you put in those seats, or who you don't put in those seats.
That's right.
You know, I mean, that, and it's not going to guarantee that you're going to get what you want, but it's one of the best ways to make sure that people are paying attention
Okay.
to give you what you need.
want. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's take the Eric Gardner situation for
sir.
a hot second here. The best way to make sure that the community is in a good position if something were to happen like that, find out where your elected representatives are on these issues now before it happens.
Right.
And to determine if, well, I still want them there on this issue or not. You know what I mean?
What?
And then the other thing is, just like you brothers are doing now, involved in the process, and I want to find out what's happening with it right now,
Yeah.
Right.
so that if something go down, can we come to you? Can we depend on you? You know, should we even give you a chance?
Right.
And if so, you know, can we make it stronger? Can we, you know, from what we learned, how can we do this or that or whatever? Or to say, yo, Brother Reed, y'all could be doing this, but y'all not doing this. Why? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, and this is the type of dialogue that we have to have, and I welcome that.
And so along the same lines of what Black was saying is, you know, with Eric Garner's situation, has there been any situations like that or anywhere near like that in Atlanta that you all have had to deal with that were
Blatant.
maybe up on that blatant level of disrespecting?
I'm gonna say this. Since I've been here in 2012, we have not received one like that. We have not received. Now, see, this is the part of the issue, though. And when I came here in 2012, but before I came, the ACRB, the Atlanta Citizen Review Board, did not do any outreach. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So nobody knew about us.
Right.
Nobody knew
Right.
Right.
About to say, that
Exactly.
seems like
Yeah,
counterproductive to me. You know what I mean?
But
Like-
for real, it just wasn't happening.
Right.
Right. So I met the brother at the and send a shout out to the brother, man.
Charles Curry.
Brother
Yes.
Charles Curry, man, out there doing outreach, doing a wonderful job. Thank you for, you know, coordinating, getting this thing set up, man. Too, the brother was out there talking to the people, shaking hands, and really breaking it down and explaining it. So, you know, until we had met Brother Curry, I didn't even know Atlanta had a citizens
Didn't even
review
know it
board.
existed.
Right.
One of the best kept secrets in City Hall.
Yes, sir.
Right.
You know, and my position and the people I work with, Viola Smith, Sheena Robertson, Robin Lawler, Brian Fleming, Charles Curry, and when we used to have Crystal Bird in our office, and Nari Battini, we all know that community outreach is essential. One,
Right.
so that people will know us.
Right.
That's right.
And through knowing us, you trust us.
Right.
You have a connection.
And you get that feedback to be able to say, okay, what's going on, what's happening, and get to know what's happening. Now, going to the point about have we received a case like that? No, we haven't since I've been here.
Okay.
And I attribute a lot of that to, or cases like that. Maybe if it's not to that magnitude,
Right.
I attribute a lot of that to people not knowing. Because every day that we go out, people are like you just said.
Yeah. Right.
What? I didn't know you had that. What?
Right.
You know? Yeah, it's been here since 2000. Really?
Yeah.
Damn, man. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Man,
it's all right. Okay.
I wish I knew about you 2 years ago.
Right.
Right.
Can I still file a complaint? No, I'm sorry, brother. Can't take a complaint.
Right.
Because you only have 180 days to file a complaint. So that's why it's critical
PR is very
that we get the word out, because after 180 days,
Right.
I can't do
That's
anything.
it.
with
Statute
it.
of limitations.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have to be out here hitting the, we have to be out there, security has to be out there getting that word out so we can do it. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes,
we
sir.
can assist,
But-
because we had a rally the other day, I mean, it was a nice rally.
Man,
and I
it was
think,
wonderful.
we need people like yourself get in front of the rallies and tell what you do, you know what I'm saying? Because, and this is, shout out to, the street tribes, but, some of that stuff was religious, Yanga. You know what
A
I'm
lot
saying?
of it
And
is.
So I
A
think
lot
we
of
need
it
to-
is.
Yeah, right.
A
If we
lot
can
of it
have
is.
something that's agenda-based.
Well, it's like what Brother Lee said. One of the things, I think the Bible says for lack of knowledge.
Right.
Right.
My people perish. I'm gonna say for lack of knowledge of politics.
That's right.
For some reason, when you say politics, man, it's like the measles or something. We just back up and we don't, we definitely don't want to get involved. But the brother clearly stated what you and I had been talking about before in Ferguson. What is the demographic? What is the makeup of the African?
96.
96, like 96%. Why do you still have a European police chief and damn
Right.
near all
And the
European
DA.
police department?
Right, and the DA.
Lack of political participation.
Right.
But one of the questions I had for Brother Lee is, how do you pick your board members? Is it some type of educational level, some type of economic level? Do they have to be, registered to vote? How are people chosen to sit on the review board?
The way it's set up is that, and this is by the ordinance, is how it's set up. The mayor has a pick. The president of the city council has a pick. The city council as a whole has a pick.
Okay.
Atlanta is divided up into MPUs. So they let me get to I have 7 more people.
These are the people that pick the members, right?
What's that?
These are the people that pick the members.
Right,
Okay.
and they get to pick one.
Okay.
And then Atlanta has the MPU system where it's divided up.
Divided up.
And it's like
MPU system are like with zones.
Yes, neighborhood planning units.
Okay.
So each they've divided. Anyway, it's 4 MPU clusters basically that gets to pick 4 people.
Okay.
Then you have the Gate City Bar who gets to pick a person. Atlanta Business League, the League of Women Voters, and the Atlanta Bar Association.
Okay.
Now, they go to their membership or they go to their people in those MPUs or people that the elected officials may know who they'll nominate to the board. That's not really a part of my process.
Right.
I just work with
What you give?
what I'm given.
Right.
Okay.
And so, but that's why when we go out, we try to encourage people to connect to one of those entities if they have an interest to be on the board.
But the strongest connection and the strongest possibility and likelihood, and we just keep it real, would be through the MPUs for the people that's not on the bar, they're not lawyers, for the people that don't have businesses, so they're not in the business association, for the people that, aren't really so politically inclined, so, we know that the mayor's not really looking at them, so it would be strongest to go through the MPUs. How would you go? What is the MPU? Is that like, can you break that down exactly what that is a little bit?
Yeah, like each neighborhood, you have the neighborhood associations, and then right above that, so to speak, are these MPUs. It's Atlanta APAB, the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board. Okay, that's like the overall thing. Okay. And then there's these MPUs that fall under it, and they go like from A to Z, I believe. All right, so that's how the city is divided. If you live, for example, let's say if you lived in MPU V,
okay,
they have their monthly meeting. What you want to do is go to the monthly meeting, get involved, get to know the people there. When whoever's the representative for the cluster of maybe, and I don't memorize these MPU things, so I'm just gonna throw out like a little cluster. Like, let's say if you are between S and Z, the cluster S and Z, they're looking for somebody to be a representative on the Atlanta Citizen Review Board.
From that cluster?
Yes, from that cluster,
okay,
those MPUs.
Okay.
And if you lived in, let's say, U or whatever, you find out about that information, you seek to get the nomination from that cluster, and then that MPU would make the recommendation
That
to
you
the
sit on
city
the board.
council, to the public safety committee, that this is the person that we want to put forward. And
So
then
basically,
they'll
you would
vet.
start in with your city, like say you lived in Vine City.
Oh, yes.
You would start with galvanizing Vine City, and then from working with the little neighborhood groups, the city group or whatever, then you would work with the other people that make up that MPU.
Oh, just attending the meetings, basically,
Yeah.
so that they'll know who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
So that when the opening comes up, you say, hey, I want to
Yeah.
be on the board. And then they say, oh, okay, well, let's see what you're about, why you want to be on it and everything like that. And then they'll nominate you.
Okay.
And then you'll be that cluster's representative. What we're trying to do is standardize the process or whatever. You asked me earlier about qualifications. The beauty of the board is, and I think you're right when you say the MPUs, but the beauty of the board is it's trying to take the average citizen, excluding
Right. That's what I wanna- yeah.
excluding the
The
lawyers,
business owners, right.
the people who have the
Yeah.
political connections
Yeah.
and things. But when you're talking about like the MPU system,
Right.
Yep, the average person. Hey, we want to.
So what are the criteria? I mean, like, what if they have a felony or
Okay,
things of that
felony would probably be a problem for you.
Oh, that's half of Vine City.
Depending on how long it was and what it was. I mean, how long ago it was and what it was. That might be a problem. I mean, this is just being real.
Right. That's what
'cause
we're
somebody
here
will
to
probably
talk.
just
pull it
talking
up
about
and
the
say,
demographic,
"Oh man, he had a felony for that." Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't make the decision about
Right.
who's going to be on the board. The city council will have to approve you to be on the board, and then that's how you would get on the board. It's all laid out in the ordinance, and one of the things that we're going to do is take it out of that ordinance language,
Yeah.
put it down so that it's just an easy
layman's
read,
term?
and send it out to
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
Okay.
And as a part of like we talked about earlier, the community outreach piece, people have to know what it is. So we're going to definitely take care of that piece.
But, go ahead, Vince.
Now, I was going to go back to this selection.
Yeah, I'm
Because
with
to
you.
me, you're talking about the mayor, the city council, and
Yes.
Right, it's like a
the
stacked deck.
business association. Right. I'm
It's
like,
like a stacked deck.
that's really throwing me off. So, are they actually choosing people that live in that community? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, are they picking a representative from Vine City, from?
It would be that MPU.
Well, now
No,
on the
but
MPUs,
I mean,
it'd be somebody in that MPU.
Right.
As far as the elected officials go,
They got their own
it'll
person.
be. I mean, the mayor has anybody who lives in the city.
Yeah.
And the city council, basically open up
Yeah.
to anybody who lives in the city from wherever they
But
want to
don't
be.
you think that it should be, like, let's say Vine City? I think it should be compiled of people in Vine City to determine if there is a police officer or an official that's
Right.
acting unruly, regardless. I think there should at least be a pre-board or I don't know, I just find
Somebody
it
that's actually on the streets dealing with
The
the
people
people
that's
on
actually the
the
target,
people
right,
that's
some of this
actually the
brutality,
targets,
right.
Like, I don't
Right,
know, it
because
just
we
feel like
got
you said, it
right for
seems
politics.
stacked.
You have people that are very friendly with the FOP, that have different motives and different interests in why they would want to see things a certain way. Let me ask you: is this set in stone? Is there some way that the masses could say, "Hey, listen"? A large segment of the African society, the black people here in America, for lack of a better word, we feel discriminated against, not really being involved in this process of saying, and we're the ones that's being targeted for the brutalization,
Right.
for the, saying,
Yeah,
movement.
because if the mayor's picking somebody in Buckhead that don't never get pulled over, it's conflict. I don't
Right.
understand why these niggas always
Right.
get
Yeah.
my police. I mean, police don't ever pull me over.
Or if you got the person who doesn't have felony, and this is why I say, I'm glad that we got the young brothers here. And listen, young brothers, this is what we was talking about in the meet last night out there, man. Stop letting them get you in these felonies, man. It's
Right.
cageable, killable,
That's
and
the
catchable,
point.
brother.
That's the point.
Stop letting them make you mute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the
You
situation.
can use any hypothetical, man. We just-
we
yeah.
just throwing stuff out
brothers,
there.
we
Now, I was
just
trying to remember exactly what your point.
What the
thing
question
is-
was? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
My question was, and then I'm sorry, Vince.
Go ahead,
I
go ahead. I
know. I get in these conversations, man. My question is it set in stone? Is
Okay,
there anybody
That's right.
All right, yeah. Now, as far as who gets to appoint, yes,
Okay.
it is because of the ordinance. But see, going back to how all of this is connected, if before 2012, when we weren't doing the community outreach, and now we're trying to get out there in the community, letting people know about the process. Why? I mean, because I've had people ask me before, why is it just those people get appointed? I don't know, because I wasn't here when it was created.
Right.
Okay, but I know this is the process. But like everything, if a community has a concern, you find out about what it is that's going on. This, the ACRB. Oh, this is what the ordinance says. We want to see it change. Now let's galvanize the energy behind it to get it changed. That means attending our meetings, learning about what we do. That means moving forward with somebody that represents your area or on city council to see if they can move an ordinance change to open it up, to include more people.
Right.
Because
participation.
I'm sorry?
Participation.
Yeah, more
You got to participate.
But I hope as we continue to do our outreach, we have more people saying, all right, now I know we got it, and I know what is going on. I want to be involved in it. Oh, shit, you mean I can't be involved in it? Okay, now I need to change that, too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Vince. I got to jump in here. You know, if I'm a police officer, and I know the mayor's going to pick somebody from Buckhead, part of our club, you know, I ain't got to worry. But if there's a plant in Vine City, I don't know who it is. It could be Yanger for all I know.
No, it's not Yanger. It's not me.
It's
not me. It's not me.
No. Yeah,
I don't do that snitching
I don't do y'all. I ain't down with it. I'm not a plant. For the people, yo.
Okay. No, okay.
That's another hypothetical.
Okay, let's just say hypothetically, somebody in Yanger's neighborhood is on a citizen review board. That police officer is going to be less hesitant because he don't know who in there.
He's going to be less likely to put that baton in your back.
Right. I think it's a setup to get the mayor. He getting somebody from Buckhead or Sandy Springs. I'm not feeling that. And
to your point, because mine is along the same line as what he's saying. I had a situation with some officers that was in a different county. But it was a fight situation. I'm trying to break up the fight. He sees me, and he automatically assumes that I'm part of the fight.
It was
the
locks.
He runs over, and he tackles me onto the hood of a car, slams me, hurts my shoulder, whatever, puts me in handcuffs, puts me in the back of the police car. So now, if this happened in Atlanta, and I come to you, Mr. Reed, and I say, man, Mr. Reed, this man just messed me up. He did this and that and that. Please explain to me the process. And then you get to telling me what you just explained to us about the mayor and the city council and the business association, people get to pick the citizen review board. How comfortable do you really think I'm going to feel moving forward with you having me having you represent me? Because now I'm thinking, okay, well, all these the mayor and all these delegates and city council members are the ones picking the people on the citizen review board. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm sure it's going to be leaning towards the city and the state,
because this officer represents
the city and the state.
So
how do you?
I'll say it like this: you have three that are appointed by city folks. Okay. That's the mayor. That's the one by the mayor, the one by city council president, and the one by city council. You have four that are appointed by the communities.
Okay.
And then you have 1, 2 appointed by the bars. The Gate City Bar and the Atlanta Bar Association.
The Gate City Bar?
Yeah, Gate City Bar. That's the black bar.
Okay.
And then the
big up the Gate City Bar.
Then the Atlanta Bar, you have the Business League, the Atlanta, that's the Black Atlanta Business League, and then you have the League of Women Voters. Now, I say that to say this.
Okay.
All right, so let's just say if you had those three that you're like, okay, I'm questionable about what those three are going to do.
Right.
All right. Now the other 8 that you have, okay.
Yeah.
They coming from
feeling
the
my pain.
They
feeling my pain.
They coming
but
from the community.
One of the things that I have to advocate, to be an advocate for Brother Lee here, because what he's saying, what it all boils down to, though, really is participation. You know what I'm saying?
I got to disagree with you, bro.
Talk to me.
Let me 770-559-299. Call in.
We got Brother Lee here from the Atlanta You the receptionist.
Atlanta Citizen Review Board.
Atlanta
I
Citizen.
know I'm not the only one being jacked up out there. Y'all call in.
Call in with your
Hold on,
questions and
first
comments.
of all, you know, Yang, let me just keep it real.
It's the only way we keep it.
Everybody has been picked by the MPU,
Right.
and I've been picked by the mayor.
Right.
I'm coming in there flossing.
Okay,
You know,
but-
I got picked by the mayor, so it needs to go down like
But
this.
it's not though. Listen to what
Okay.
Brother Lee is saying.
That's
He's
not
saying
how-
that
that's-
four of the people on the board, or at least 8, 4 of them are picked by the MPUs.
Right.
That's
Right, I
from
understand
that's the hood. That's the homies. That's whoever we really get in there
Okay.
and start to flex our political muscle and start getting involved. Then you have the other 4 picked by the businessmen, basically people that are in the community, this and that. So when you're dealing with a democracy, he may have his one. He may have his people, and they're going to
Yeah,
argue
but
that
that one's
point.
gonna floss.
He's going to fall.
I
What
got
can he
picked
do?
by the
What
mayor.
can he do? What can he do with everybody else outvotes him?
They have to vote on the cases that come before them. They vote.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
majority wins. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
As far not win, but you know,
Pushes
to
it.
determine
It goes-
the,
whether it goes
the
forward.
decision of the case. So that's one way. It's what it balances. But to really address the concerns you talked about, you know, citizens understanding the process and being able to push for change if they want to open it up, I encourage it.
Okay.
Citizens attending them. See, and this is the other thing. When the city council may have someone available for an appointment, opening them up for an appointment, you being knowledgeable of the process, knowing what it's about, there's nothing to stop you from contacting your representatives to say, hey, look here, I know there's an opening up on the board, and I know it's a city council opening. I know somebody would be perfect for this. Let me go on and put them up. Because I'm going to tell you, it is not easy. From my experience, it's always seemed to have been a challenge for people to find somebody to want to be on there. Now, I don't know
Really?
if they try hard
Yeah,
enough or
stipulations.
what.
Well, like you said, a lot of us didn't
But
know.
they have
About it.
stipulations.
Yeah, that's stipulations. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's eradicating. We got some cats that want to tell the police something. You know,
Yeah. We went to a rally yesterday. There's plenty of people like to jump on
Plenty
that
of people
board.
would love
right.
to jump on that board.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question though that I have when we talk about the disciplinary actions.
Yes.
Suppose the board. So the disciplinary actions, are they final with the? They're final with the chief. So if I suppose that the board says, hold on, wait a minute, you know, he does this thing, we're saying we want his job, but he gets suspended with pay or something. Is that final, or is there any way to repeal that and come back and say, hey, that wasn't severe enough?
And basically, how much power do y'all have
Yeah.
in the punishment process?
Are we just
really
enough power
that's-
just to present it?
The way it works is, and this is one of the challenges for civilian oversight across the board. In most systems, including the Atlanta system, the chief maintains the ultimate disciplinary decision. Okay, so now when we're looking at it like that, we can make the decisions. We send it over to the chief. He's going to do what he's doing based on his disciplinary philosophy. I love all my officers. I'm not going to do anything. Or he could say, well, the board said you did it. That's good enough for me. I'm going to go on and take care of you the way I need to take care of you. The chief has that authority. And then that goes back to being involved in the process. Because all this stuff is connected.
But see, when
Because the chief is voted in, isn't he?
No, he's hired by the elected officials and signed off and all that kind of stuff. So it's important that we understand that, for example, like the Ferguson situation.
Yes.
I think earlier somebody threw out the 96% black.
Yes.
Yeah.
People running the city still white.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how their system is set up, but more than likely, it's the elected officials who hired the police chief. Ultimately, that's his boss. So, who do you have to deal with? Okay? The elected
officials.
Do they represent what you and your concerns are for the community? If not, you're going to get what you get. All right? So we have to keep that in mind and keep telling people, vote because it affects you every day. And here's one example how. It determines what services you get from the city and how those cities and how those services are delivered. I know you wanted to say something to me. But really, we don't have, and that's a challenge. I mean, I'm going to be up front with you. That is a challenge. But see, that's why we have to have citizens involved in the process.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm saying, and when I put out a report saying, well, the police chief only disciplined on 50% of the cases that we sent over to them, and I'm telling the city council this, and they look back and they, it look like you the only one, Mr. Reed, upset. I don't see anybody behind you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Get over it.
So you're the only one upset.
Right.
Your boys is the only one upset. Everybody else is cool.
Yeah.
And nobody's standing behind you.
Yeah.
Now, some other departments can get up there and they can say, well, we need money for this, that, and the other thing. Hell, they got half of the daggone city up there saying, that's right, right on. So we, you know, I often think about it sometimes, this civilian oversight like this sometimes. It's almost like that dentist. Nobody ever thinks about that daggone dentist.
Until it's time to go.
Until it's time to go. Pull it out, take my head off, get this shit out of my mouth. You know what I mean? Get this stuff out of my mouth. You know?
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Right.
After that, damn dentist, hell, they pay too, they get too much money. They don't do shit, they don't do anything anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They ain't real doctors. You know? Let something start hurting.
Right.
And that's sort of like how civilian oversight is. When people know about it,
Right.
you know, man, it doesn't matter what's really happening
Wait
to
for
them.
a tragedy to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it's like, what was the civilian oversight? What the hell were they doing? What? I mean,
Right. So you get all this pressure.
You know. So then it's like, what were y'all doing? Where y'all been?
Yeah.
Man, look here, y'all got to be with us in the good times and the bad, because that's the only way you can.
Exactly. It's a marriage.
So,
It's a marriage.
And it keeps me honest, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all ain't got to worry about me being honest, but I'm just saying it keeps us doing what we supposed to do.
Right.
That's right.
As it relates to our mission.
Right. So, how hard is it to prove police misconduct?
Ooh.
In one-on-one situations, it can be difficult, okay? Because it's basically my word against your word.
That's right.
Now, who won?
Well,
I mean, you can say,
Law.
well, you know, you can say, well, you know, and then you throw in some other factors.
Well, because we had Cop Watch on here, and they got a nice elaborate setup. Meaning they got not only cameras and witnesses, they got a sniper cam.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Cop Watch is a good thing.
Okay.
Right.
And because it gets that information out there.
Yes.
It gets that information out there. It lets people know what's happening. One of the differences is between us and what ACRB and Cop Watch does is we have people can lodge a complaint with us in an official capacity and send it over. Now, the important, and I want to go back to my other point, the importance of lodging a complaint, and I don't think people follow this enough, is that when the numbers start stacking, problems start coming. Yeah, maybe your complaint didn't get the same.
Right.
But when they go investigate this
Wait a minute now. I know
they start stacking up. And then, especially when you start talking about, is there a pattern of abuse? Is there a pattern of certain things happening? People want to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, I said earlier, me and you talking about it, me and you talking, us four just sitting around here talking about something that happened last week, and nobody filed a complaint about it.
Right.
Guess what?
We just wrapped.
It didn't happen.
If a tree falls in the woods,
you know what I mean?
You never know.
I can say all day it
make
didn't
a
happen.
sound.
But now this piece of paper here saying that, oh yeah, he went down here, filed this complaint with such and, oh, it wasn't sustained. Or maybe, you know, chief didn't discipline on it when he should have. But we got this piece of paper here. Oh, another one came in. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Another, same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. We need to do something about this thing.
In fact, that happened with the guy who choked out Eric Gardner. They find out this guy.
Oh, yeah. He had a little,
he had
some racial history there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but don't you think there would be some fear on the parts of the citizens as far as retaliation from the police?
Listen, we got some people brave enough.
That's a good question. You know, the retaliation piece. When I'm out in the community, I hear that sometimes from people.
I'm sure you do.
You know,
that's been first
if I
thing
file
I
a
said.
complaint, you know, you put more heat on me.
Right.
You know, I put more heat on myself. Well, the way I look at it is like this. I've been doing this since 2006.
Okay.
And before that, I had a small law office taking in complaints like this as well. Retaliation, I can only think of maybe one time where we could probably say, and this was back in Minnesota, that we could probably say something wasn't right there about the interaction that this officer, the extra interaction that this officer had with this person that just filed a complaint.
Right.
One time that I can think of. But the problem with even the thought of retaliation is it stops you from filing a complaint, which allows the officer
to continue right.
doing what he's not supposed to be doing. So in essence, you playing in the hand. Sort of like, when you're younger, the guy coming up and say, yo, what's up, you got me?
Yeah.
If you're going to keep on giving into it, guess what?
Yeah,
you're gonna keep giving them your money.
Yeah.
The day that you stand up and say, nah, I don't have you anymore.
Right.
I got something for you, though.
Yeah.
Now it turns the table. Now we have a different type of conversation.
Yes, sir.
And we have to understand that when we're dealing with alleged misconduct, that as a citizen, as somebody who's saying, I'm looking out for my folks, I'm looking out for the community, I'm looking out for my family.
Right.
You need to go file a complaint because tomorrow it might not be you again, but it might be somebody else.
That's right.
That you know and you care about. And they just think that, damn, had I filed these complaints,
right.
they could have had something to work with to say, yo, we need to look at the policy that these officers are going under. We need to look at this officer, the training. We need to look at stuff. But those numbers is what helps us move.
So we need to be proactive.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
So in the beginning, so if I come to you and file a complaint, in the very beginning, is there any type of privacy set up for me so as to not expose who I am to the offending officer right away? You know what I mean? So there's a little CYA, so he just won't know who I am.
None of that.
Immediately. Unfortunately,
because you have a right to face your accuser.
Unfortunately, when a citizen files a complaint,
okay,
we have to let the officer know he received a complaint. Mm-hmm. So that way we can let him know what he's talking about and the situation, everything when he comes in. But if the officer were to do something, that's another charge against him as well. That doesn't.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, if it can be proven, right. And I was going to say that doesn't stop the concern. That doesn't stop the concern. But the greater thing is, in my mind, in doing this work, the greater thing is, if you want it to stop, you got to tell. So if you don't say anything, you're playing right into the hand.
Right.
So the citizen is basically, if I was in that state of mind, left with the choice and option of keep quiet and keep taking these lumps from the officer whenever he having a bad day, or put my life in jeopardy, reporting this officer, which we all know they don't take too kindly to.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this another way. And this is just my thinking, if an officer was going to really significantly harm someone because they filed a complaint against them, guess what? Your ass was going to be significantly harmed one day anyway.
Right, yeah.
Because this officer is already out.
You got him.
He's already out.
Right. Brother Lee, old school.
You gonna catch that beat down one day.
Brother Lee, old school. Was you in a frat or anything?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. He old school. Basically what he said, I'm going to say what he want to say to him, but he can't say, man, no. That's what he want to say. I'm going to say it for him.
That's right.
Stick your put some air in your chest.
Not for yourself, for the young folk in the community, for the community as a whole. You know what I mean? To get this parasite out of the community. I feel that and I understand that.
Let me get more on a personal note, man, because I really like your stilo. I like how you come on kicking with. What made you, and you had a private practice. You say that you was dealing with something similar. What made you say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go on and take this on and start working for the state and stuff like that? What made you get involved and want to be a part of it?
I guess it all goes back to just how I was raised. I've always been a study of history.
Okay.
Right.
So what made me want to go to even be a lawyer was that I saw that shit, we always were getting taken advantage. We were getting taken advantage of in a lot of situations because we just didn't know.
We didn't know.
That's right.
And
Okay.
we didn't read.
Right.
Read.
We didn't know. We didn't know somebody. We didn't know what was in the book.
Right.
We didn't know what. And something. You know, in the beginning, a lot of stuff was kept from us.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Intentionally.
So, my thing was, let me go to school, and I'll be a lawyer. You know, and so I got my law degree, and I didn't really want to work for anybody either. You know, I wanted to have my own thing so I could do what I
Your
wanted to
thing.
do. And so when I graduated, my wife, well, she wasn't my wife at the time. She took a job up there, so I stayed in Durham and worked for a community development corporation, employing the community with jobs. So I did that for a year, and then moved up to Minnesota and opened my practice in an urban league building. And it was a small community practice, and one of the things that a lot of folks get caught into, especially from our community, we need legal representation.
Yes.
We don't have the money to get it.
Right.
You know, so again, we get abused and taken advantage of.
Right.
So on Wednesday nights, I would have a free legal clinic.
Wow.
To where I do like from 5 until 7. People just come in and talk to me about what's going on, or whatever. And I try to help them or steer them to where they need to go. Sometimes people just need somebody to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Some guidance or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they'll carry it the rest of the way.
Right.
But during that time, and even when I had my regular office hours, people would come in and say, hey, you know, this happened or this happened to me and stuff. And I say, well, and I didn't even know about the Civilian Review Authority they had up there.
Right.
You know, it's funny.
And this is Minnesota.
It's like it's like create them and
Don't tell them.
So I didn't even know about. So I wasn't sending people over that way. I
Right.
try to help them in other ways, and so a time came in 2006 where I said, you know, I like what I'm doing, and I want to be able to do more with it. And by that time, I learned about the Civilian Review Authority. And so an opportunity came open. And also, the way I was running my practice was, it was truly a community practice. Because I wasn't getting paid. In fact, some of the lawyers are telling me, like, look here, Lee.
Man, who's gonna pay off them student loans, bro?
You can't run your practice like the social services.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be sending over their hard luck cases to me.
Right.
I was like, yo, how'd you hear about it? Oh, you know, Attorney so-and-so said I should come see you. Like, okay.
Right.
So that would tell me right there, okay, you probably didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the facts of the case didn't
Yeah.
look good or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's all right, come on in, brother. We'll rap about it or whatever. Because that's what I got my degree for. Anyway, an opportunity came open with the city of Minneapolis in their civil rights department, basically running their Civilian Review Authority. And so what it did, though, it allowed me to still do the legal stuff and helping people, though, with these serious issues with police, you know, and use my management skills as well in, you know, managing the office and all this kind of stuff, and the budget and everything. So it was a perfect merger, and I still enjoy it today. You know, it's challenging, and so I like it. Yeah.
Well, as far as the PR, man, we need you more at more rallies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like the Wednesday thing that you're doing, but man, you need it at these rallies big
And
time.
to your point on that, this is one of the frustrating things too.
Okay.
We don't hear about the stuff.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we don't hear about it, thankfully, Crystal Bird and Charles Curry, who've been on our staff now, have been out there. So we've been making some more connections. So we're hearing about things here and there, and we try to make it to everything. So that's been good. But like the rally you had yesterday, we didn't know about it.
Right.
Right. You know what? Right.
So you know, we still
Because nobody knew about you.
Exactly. So
Right.
we're working. We're constantly working,
Right.
trying to make these connections with different
Right.
folks, so that we can make it out to these things, so that people can at least know what we're about, make a decision about it, and decide they want to be engaged in the process, or not, or how they can make it better, how they can make it stronger. What can we do? You know.
Well, one thing I can suggest, we got to lighten up that restriction there. You know what I mean? We got to. I mean.
Yeah. Well, like he was saying though, that's going to take that involvement going on. Say, hey, this ordinance sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got to get in there and start getting the people involved.
Well, that's a whole nother monster though.
Yeah.
Getting involved in politics. That's
a whole nother beast.
You know,
but I think that one of my things is I think one of the reasons why our lack of political involvement is because we don't see where it's applicable to our everyday life.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Once we understand that, it's like we always talk about, son, you and I talk about, instead of them building that rec center, they building that damn jail.
Yeah, that's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? And all that's part that they got so many money allocated for Vine City.
Right.
And, our wonderful mayor then gave the money here and gave the money there. You know what I'm saying? Instead of Vine, I'm still walking past Boo Boo and Doo Doo in Vine City. So when they start to know how it affects them directly, we have to be able, and that's what we do. That's the rally we did yesterday. We get out there and we speak the language of the people. Hey, man, blase, blase, blah.
Right,
we don't use all the big words, the capitalism.
Right.
That's what I was talking about earlier about how this electing folks go when you talk about police abuse, what's happening with police. You have to be involved in the process, knowing that your vote and knowing the issues, it's going to affect your everyday life because you don't know when you're going to have that encounter.
Especially in Vine City.
Let me ask this. This is what I want to know. So when you come to a rally as being, a city employee, what are the limitations? If you come to a rally, if you come to participate, how far can you participate? And then the second thing is when they come to the Citizen Review Board, can they come for advice, legal advice, or is it just to file a complaint?
Not legal advice. We can't give legal advice.
Okay.
They can ask questions about it, this is what happened with me. And as long as it's in the vein of, I'm considering to file a complaint.
Okay.
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 But we don't give out legal advice. We don't give legal representation. Mm-hmm. Our process is totally separate from any other process that you may have going on.
Right, it's supposed to be unbiased.
You can file you can file a
unbiased.
complaint with us and file a lawsuit if you want to, or so you have other things that's open to you as well. Mm. File with the FBI or whatever. You can do those things. Our process is onto its own. As far as participation in rallies and things of that nature, the only thing I can really do is speak on my process.
Okay.
This is what we do. This is how we do it. And, if questions were asked, yes, I can answer, questions, but it's on the lines of what I do. I'm not for the politics because that's not my role.
Right.
But I understand how it all fits together as far as supporting the mission of the Citizen Review Board.
The bigger thing. My thing wasn't just one more question, like something like we just, talking about the Eric Garner. Like at a rally, would you be able, as far as being city workers, would you guys be able to speak at a rally like that? Would they say that was unbiased? Well, you're at a rally that's against, wouldn't that be looked at as a bias?
And see, that's the challenge. That would be the challenge because I think earlier I was talking about how we are supposed to be the neutral party.
Right.
To where officers and citizens participate in this process so that the process can deliver the right decision, which is really a powerful thing. So, yes, we have to take that kind of stuff into consideration.
So, no, I can't breathe shirts, T-shirts on. You can't.
No, I wouldn't be wearing I can't. No, I wouldn't necessarily be and this is the thing, though. You know me by my works.
Yes, sir.
Okay? I might not be able to walk around wearing certain things because it's bigger than just me.
Right.
I mean, it's bigger than me, the whole everything that's going on.
Right.
But the process that I have to protect is bigger than me.
Right.
So, I have to put some thought into.
It has to be balanced.
Right.
You have to maintain that neutrality.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, because I want at the end of the day, if I'm not even here, I want the process still in place.
Like you said, it's bigger than just you. It's bigger than you just getting caught up in your emotions.
Right.
And having the whole process derail. You can do more by not, by maintaining that neutrality. Then I understand exactly what you're saying.
We got pretty much 9-10 minutes left in the show.
Okay.
I wanted to know what the relationship is like between the cops in the Atlanta Citizen Review Board.
Good question.
Yeah.
Did they pull y'all over, give y'all two? There you go.
That's the AC R&B dude right
There
there.
he is, executive director.
Right, the executive director.
No, fortunately, I haven't had any of those experiences.
Good deal.
As far as professionally goes, we have a working relationship, whereas when we need, if you were to file a complaint against an officer, we have access to all of the reports. We have access to the officers. They have to participate in our process. They don't have a choice about it.
Okay.
The police department will provide the reports. They will provide the videos. They'll provide anything we need to complete our investigation.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
so
what about independent videos?
if somebody has an independent video, we would take that too. It's evidence.
Right.
We would review those.
Right.
we would take those.
So the
and
cop
consider
watch and
those.
the Citizen Review Board can actually work hand in hand.
Right.
We would review that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and be able to include it as long as it's relevant to what
Oh yeah.
to what has
case.
occurred. Yes. So as far as working together in the process, that's great. In the second stage, when we make our decisions we make our decisions, send it over to the police department. They have their process that they go through, and then they decide if they're going to make a decision or not, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes there's the tension that's there between should have been disciplined or not.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and that's
Balance.
it's a natural tension because
Both sides feel like they're right.
right. You know,
Right.
so what we really are trying to focus on right now is I'm reviewing a whole bunch of cases to find out why the chief made the decision that he made on those complaints that he didn't discipline on, and that'll allow us to be able to have a further conversation. You know, it's one thing to say, yeah, they didn't discipline.
Right.
But you need to know why, okay?
Right,
So we can
right.
find out, was it on our end?
Right.
Oh, hell, it wasn't on our end, so it's on their end, so
Right,
we need to
right.
figure this
So
out to try to work things out. So that's what we're trying to do now.
Well, is there something that we can do in the subsequent future to start to give us more bite in the reprisal, in the punishment? I know we talked about dealing with the local, our elected officials, but I mean, you know, in the meantime, even dealing with them, is there something that we can say, hey, we need more power in the actual, saying maybe we may not come up with the punishment, but we need to be able to say, hey, this is not suitable. You need to go back to the drawing board and meet us halfway somewhere. Is there something that we can, or is that set in stone also?
As far as who has the disciplinary authority, that's set in stone by the ordinance. And
So we need to work on this ordinance.
I just want
we
to
need to
This ordinance is kicking up.
I want
It
them to
really
stop
is.
paying them while they investigating the cases.
that goes along
good
with the
start.
ordinance.
It
Right.
goes
That goes
along
along
with the ordinance, him
Yeah.
having the disciplinary power. So my thing is, the ordinance has to be, our involvement has to be, because we have to really start looking at the ordinance.
Yeah.
The ordinance is the one giving this power, and
So that's
Yeah, that seems like a
going
brick
back
wall
to
right
the
there.
law again
well,
and how it's written.
the ordinance is one of the things that you would want to look at. Another one is, I'm encouraging everyone, participate, check out the meetings, we're trying to come out with a lot of different things to be able to reach out to the community so that they understand what we're doing.
Right.
Okay.
And so they can, when you're having these conversations with different folks, we can talk from a level of, oh, we know what it's about. This is what needs to happen. Now, how do we strategize to make those different changes?
Yes.
You know, and I think that's important. Like, we had a body worn camera report that came out, first one in the city and the state, about the body worn cameras.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of people jumped on it. Yeah, this is what we need. This is what we need, and we agree.
Right.
Body worn
They
cameras
would
is a
help.
great thing,
Right, they'd help.
as long as you have strong policy and enforcement of those policies.
Right.
Okay.
It's all about
Just
enforcement.
because
It's
look
all
at
about
the Air Gardner.
enforcement. Right.
Go back to
Exactly.
the Air Gardner situation.
Right.
Everybody saw it,
Right.
Right.
but it still turned out that way.
Yeah.
And the community has to understand. A lot of this stuff gets sort of deep because it's just a lot of forces that go into it. And
But is there a difference between the body cam and a cop watch cam?
Dash cam.
I think there'd be more apt that they, because they were giving the guy with the camera a hard time.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I just want to.
Oh, we got two minutes left. Please give the people your information
Man,
and how they
my
can get in
head,
touch
psychic,
with you.
man.
Please
Okay.
put that out there, please.
I need today's phone
yes,
number,
sir.
bro.
Atlanta Citizen Review Board. We're at Suite 9100 in the City Hall Tower, downtown Atlanta on Mitchell Street, or you can enter on Trinity as well.
Okay.
Our phone number is 404-865-8622. My email address is slreid@atlantaga.gov. You can find us on the web at www.acrbgov.org. You can email us at acrb@atlantaga.gov, and we're on Facebook as well. Contact us. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna befriend you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you on Facebook.
What days are your open meetings?
Oh, our meetings are the second Thursday of every month at 6:30 in City Hall. What we're trying to do now, we started last year, is going out into different communities,
Yes.
having our board meetings. So, try to get out of City Hall, or
Right.
try to go
I'm gonna be up there
to
every-
where the
every
people
month.
are.
Yes, sir.
Where the
With the
people are.
list people.
Last
time?
month we were in last year. Then 6:30.
6:30.
Last year in October we were in Adamsville Recreation Center, and then this year in February we'll be in Buckhead, and now we're looking for another place to have it in a couple of months.
Okay.
All right, we are out next week. We're going to have some youth on here. I hope you've been watching.
Thank you,
Take
Mr.
a-
Reed, for being here. We
Definitely,
appreciate
man.
it.
We
Thank you,
definitely
sir. Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
sitting through the scrutiny. Not a lot of people can get
Yeah,
the
yeah.
arena so smooth.
Welcome
That
to
law,
the
that law,
arena.
that
Thank
law
you for
school
viewing
paid
in.
off. Peace.
Say, Shady, you got the boat.
Hey, man.
Got the boat.
Eddie.
Sorry, I kept rambling on.
man,
I was
you
trying to
good,
shut it up
man.
and down. I was like,